What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another great episode of DJ Reacts. We've got a banger for you today. I just want to send a shout out to all of you that's been rocking with me from the beginning. I cannot tell you how much it makes my soul smile to be over 1,000 followers. That might sound very small and menial in the big scheme of things, but to me, it's a huge ordeal and I appreciate it. And shout outs to all of you that have been commenting and, actually interacting with me. And don't forget, I still have that question. I said I've got a Discord up that I've had up for a few months that I'm paying for. But as you know, Discord is very highly monitored. So my question to you all is, would you want Discord or would you want Telegram? Because Telegram's not very monitored and I can put stuff on there that's not gonna get me banned because because of censorship and because somebody doesn't agree with what we're saying. So I'm leaving that up to you all. You can have either one you want. Might be able to do both, actually. But let me know what you guys want. This is all for you. Also, do me a favor, smash that like, subscribe, and notification bell. It's free, it does not cost you a thing, and it runs the numbers up on the algorithm so we get this out there to more people and make more people aware. We are building this community together. We are all one, and I love that we're all on this path together. The video I put out, earlier about the 13 families, that was very specifically requested, and I hope you all watch it because that's something that most people don't know. So when you're trying to, everybody's using these catchphrases, Illuminati, Satanist, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, they all are satanic orders. All of them. They go against the light. And we're in a time now to where, and I say this all the time, our frequencies are raising. Ours, 15% of us are keeping 85% of the rest of the population's frequencies raising. The frequency of the earth is rising. We can measure that. That's quantifiable. We can scientifically measure that. The moon is putting out higher frequencies. The sun is putting out higher frequencies and the moon is putting out less. Also things that we can measure and have been measured. But yeah, I just want you guys to realize that when we're talking about these things, I don't want you to get the words mixed up. Not everything is Illuminati, and there are bigger things than, what you would call the Illuminati. The Illuminati, is primarily European. Well, not primarily, almost all the European. And like I said in that video, the countries that did not participate in that were China, India, Japan, mostly Asian countries, because India didn't care about the money. They cared about the wisdom, about the knowledge. And then China just doesn't accept anyone else. And Japan is kind of like China, but they want to do their own thing. But all together within an enclave under those higher 13 families, the lower 13 families, like the Rothschilds, Rothschild, the Rockefellers, the DuPont, these people, those are the lower 13 families, and then the higher 13 families with the Black Pope that I spoke about, that's who controls everything, and it is indeed satanic. The Jesuits run everything. They always have. Look at any presidential election. When a president is being inaugurated, you will see a Jesuit at each side because you can see the symbols on their garments. So yeah, it's a serious deal and it's not to be toyed with. But the thing is, they go against the light. And like I always say, you can't measure darkness. There's no measurement for darkness scientifically. You have to measure how little light is there. How far is it from light? You can't measure cold. We measure how less heat is there. Can't measure darkness, can't measure light, can't measure cold. So take these things into consideration and realize that certain people are just so far from the light. And we're trying to be one with the light. We're trying to stay as close with the light as we can. That's why you got to raise those vibrations. That's why you got to decalcify that pineal gland. That's why you got to stop eating that shit food, those GMOs. That's why you got to stop drinking dead water. Stop drinking that dead water. You got to do shadow work. Truly know who you are. Go inside yourself. Take a good hard look at yourself. That's hard for a lot of people to do, but it's something that has to be done. So I'm going to stop babbling, and we're going to go ahead and get into this.
What council this is. Pause this video and write what council you think this is below. While you're writing that, let me give you a warning. If you have a religion, proceed with caution. I walk with all religions, but my mission is also married to the truth. Meaning, I gotta give y'all the truth, even if it's going to change your reality and possibly hurt your feelings. But you have been warned. What I am going to expose to you today is going to change the way that you see all Abrahamic religions. And the story I'm about to tell holds the key. The Most High creates the earth, and his children are called the gods. And they have their own council called the Council of the Gods. And there is one God who's the head of this council, and he is called I Am. They create the entire earth and everything that lives on it. They then create humanity, and the humans are hunter-gatherers. And these hunter-gatherers have an assignment to be one with nature and to help create the world around them, and also to multiply on the face of the earth, because this will spread this forest, this natural light across the planet. That is good. But the humans get corrupted. The humans disobey and begin to live as agriculturalists. The humans start creating cities and civilization. They could no longer be one with God and one with nature, and they could no longer be hunter-gatherers. They had to live this new, brutal, hard life. So they were sent out from this beautiful place that they were made to live in. Yahweh proclaims to all the other gods on the council that humans will never be the same again, because they have started to live a life. They have the knowledge to live a life that they're not supposed to be living. Because they have the knowledge we have, they will try to be like us. But the Most High tries to lead humanity back to being hunter-gatherers, back to the forest. But the humans continue to create cities and other monstrosities on the earth. Eventually, the humans create a civilization that can reach that of the gods. And they try to bring the gods in the heavens down to earth, as all civilizations try to do. I Am proclaims that humans cannot be redeemed, and they must be ruled over. And the Most High is finally fed up. He pretty much tells them, if you're not going to listen to me, then you're going to have to serve my children, lesser gods. I Am was given Israel, and proclaimed they should not worship any other god but him, and he is a jealous God, for the other gods are wicked. Because the other gods are wicked, I Am eventually proclaims humanity itself and goes to war with the other gods. They said, but you're the children of the Most High like we are. And he said, you are gods, but you'll die like men. So what is this story about? The story is about the Old Testament. And many of you think that there's only one God in the Old Testament, and this is not the case. These people are henotheists. They believe in many gods, but there's one God above all the gods. That God is called El Elyon. And Yahweh, or I Am that I Am, is the God who's the head of the council, but he is not the Most High God. This is why in Genesis it says, let us go down and make man in our image after our likeness, because Elohim is a plural form of God. It means the gods. When the humans strayed away from their natural path, the council had disagreements on what to do with the human. Eventually, El Elyon, the Most High, gives the humans to his children, one being Yahweh. But Yahweh grows frustrated at the wickedness from the other gods. So he seeks to take all of the children of God back, and he goes to war with the gods. Scholars learned this from reading the Dead Sea Scrolls, the oldest version of the Old Testament that we have. For those who don't believe me, just go and read the oldest version of the Deuteronomy 32:8-9, which is in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and you can read it for yourself. But I don't have time to go even deeper in this video. If you want me to go even deeper, go to my YT page, use the gram icon at the top. When I hit 2,000 subscribers, I am making a full in-depth video about this, and I'm going to break everything down for you. Ask questions below so that I have questions for that video. If you just want to learn more about humans' purpose and spreading the Garden of Eden and how we were hunter-gatherers and how we were advanced and how agriculture and civilization is where we live in this matrix is all wrong. You want to know how to escape this matrix called civilization. No mortgage or anything like that. There's a book called FAMS. The audio version is free and is in the link at the top of the page. There's also 2 other books, a book called The First Book and a book called The Second Book. I love you all. Peace.
The only comment that I have on that video is, notice the color of the people. So that was an old Orthodox book that Russia made public, and it was extremely old. One of the first Bibles that had ever come out, but it was hidden by them because Russia was one of the Russia has one of the largest populations of Ashkenazi Jews, and they wanted to be his people. So it was easy for them to erase their heritage and steal it from them. And when you see these, circles of, light around them, that's their aura. They didn't know what it was called back then, and it was transliterated into halo and all of these things, but it's their aura, because gold is the highest aura. That's the Christ consciousness when you have that golden aura. Let's get into this one.
Week, and I've been waiting to post this video since the very first video that I made, laying the groundwork of understanding so that we're all going to understand this now that we're here. So let's break it down real simple. If you're going to go grocery shopping at a corporate grocery store, all of these corporations are owned by these institutions. They're highlighted in red if they're on all 4 of these sheets. They're darker orange if they're on 3 of them, and light orange if they're on 2. And there's only a couple that only appear once. It's mostly the same money. But we go deeper. If you go for the biggest tech companies, it's basically the exact same list for all 4 of these. That would be Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, Fidelity, T. Rowe Price, Geode, which is similar to Fidelity Associated, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. And then Northern Trust is on 3 of them, and Capital World Investors is the exact same thing as Capital Research and Management Company. So you might think, okay, these are the institutions that own the whole stock market. But who owns them? And see, if you've been around here for a minute, you already know. They all own each other. Just a giant cross-ownership pool. And this is where it gets really interesting. Because see, way back before I'd even posted a single video, I was sitting in my office reading this report from an anonymous user on Reddit. And he had noticed the exact same thing that I'm talking about right now. And he wrote a program to put all that data into a visualization so we can see who owns who. And I'm about to show you what he figured out. Let's take BlackRock, for example. This is a list of the top institutional owners of BlackRock and how much of the company they own. And if you visualize it, it looks like this, where the whole square is all of BlackRock's stock, and they get a percentage of that square based on how much they own. And the important colors to note are that white symbolizes us, retail investors, and gray symbolizes insiders that work at the company. So that would be like Larry Fink's stock, among other people. And everything else is other giant corporations, investment banks. Like BlackRock themselves own a little bit. State Street owns some. Capital World Management owns some. Bank of America owns some. You see how this works? But then you think about it and you're like, well, wait a minute. Because all of these institutions are owned by other institutions, right? So what if we put that data in here? Well, he did. And it looks like this. And you realize that all of this that was owned by Merrill Lynch is actually owned by all of these other institutions. And a little bit of us, retail, up there at the top. But here, we've only replaced Merrill Lynch's section. What about all of these guys? Well, then it looks like this. Remember, white is retail investors like you and me, and everything else is giant mega corporations. And if you go one layer deeper, filling in all those corporations with their corporations, you see how this program's working? And so then we simplify it to just black, gray, and white. And this is who owns BlackRock. White is retail investors like you and me. Gray is insiders at all of these corporations like CEOs and other executives. And black is just corporations owning each other. We'll call it megacorp. This is the same process done for Bank of America and for State Street and for Best Buy, Amazon, Macy's. Groceries, food, ingredients, building and selling homes, even less white, meaning us, retail ownership. As far as I can tell, there's only one company on the entire stock market that is not owned by megacorp. Can you guess who it is? Do you know? It's GameStop. Except that this photo's out of date because it's from a few years ago. It probably looks more like this if you believe the public info, which is a big if. But more on that another time. This is not a video about GameStop. This is about megacorp. Because see, when all of the owners own each other, all of their interests are aligned. BlackRock wants State Street to do well because State Street wants BlackRock to do well because they both own each other. So who is the real final boss behind all the money? Well, isn't that the million-dollar question? And ever since I've been asking those more important questions, my follower growth went from this to this. So you're not going to find those answers on this channel. You're going to have to go follow me in other places. All I'll say for now is that the next time you buy a product from a corporation like Nike or Costco or Best Buy or Amazon or any of these corporations, you're buying it from the mega corporation. They're all owned by the same big money. And it's all one big siphon, just vacuuming money out of our pockets up.
So I just want to comment on this. He's on the right track, but that's very low level, right? So these corporations, they don't all own each other the way he's saying. They have stock in one another, right? So stock gives you partial ownership. But that's not even the thing. When you're talking Walmart or Target, or you're talking these larger corporations like JP Morgan, those are completely separate entities. Whenever you're talking banking, if you're talking banking, that is completely separate. You can look at BP oil. Look at the oil industry and compare that to some of these corporations. Now compare that to the European banking cartels that are in every country. Now, they have the power. Say, for instance, here's a good example. Say, for example, Elon Musk was worth $1 trillion. But one of the Rockefellers or Rothschilds was only worth $1 billion. Who's got more power? It's going to be the Rockefellers or the Rothschilds, because they allow Elon to have that money. They can freeze his assets at any time. They have the money, they have the knowledge, and they have the lawyers. They have the legal system behind them. So if they chose to, they could freeze it all. And they do this all of the time. You've seen what happens to these people that invent cures that they don't want cured, right? You've seen in my previous videos in the 1920s and 30s where the Rockefellers were changing everything, indoctrination into the school systems. Well, one of the biggest things that they did was they stole from Tesla, right? So they stole from Tesla, and then who history now says is the father of modern electricity and light bulbs, right? You all know who it is. Well, Tesla created a light bulb that to this day He created this light bulb in 1880 something or 1890 in Chicago. To this very day, this light bulb is in a Chicago fire station, I believe, but don't quote me. I believe it's in Joliet, Illinois. It has never been turned off, ever. Well over 100 years old, never been turned off. You know why? Because he was passionate and wanted to make a good product that would help humanity. But the bankers behind him that were backing this financial endeavor were like, well, if you make them to where they last forever, how are we going to get repeat customers? What's the point of that? So then Rockefeller said, John D. Rockefeller specifically, said, let's make them to where they only last, a few years. We'll give them a good timeline. Give them 5 years. That's good. And then they have to buy more. Because these are going to be everywhere. Well, they ended up changing the filament structure, the materials that were used, and even the materials used on the bulb itself. And now, those bulbs, since the 90s and 2000s, whenever you guys have been alive, you got to buy light bulbs ever so often. But they made one. Well, they made more than one, but they kept one alive, plugged in and lit up for well over 100 years. Look it up. It's in Chicago or in Illinois at a fire station. It's never been turned off. Works for over 100 years. See, making a light bulb that lasts forever is the same as making a cure for a disease. There's no money in a cure. There's no repeat business. The money is in not curing the disease, but just kind of working on the symptoms of the disease to keep the body barely able to function. But with these medications, they can function, a fraction of what they could function before, but better than they could without it. But the cure, no. You're not going to get that. And that's why these people end up unalived in all these mysterious circumstances.
This is African voodoo witchcraft, and that thing is called Zangbado, or the spirit of night. There's nobody inside of it. This is actually a spirit which is a guardian of the black magic community in Africa.
So you might not believe that, but that's actually true. That thing has no one in it. They invoke a spirit through voodoo, and thing starts moving. There's even one with this same thing where they're in a circle surrounding it, and even scientists from the US have come to watch this because it'll stand there and then it'll go sideways and it'll just start going up in the air. There's videos on it. I'll have to find one, but it'll just start going up in the air. I'm talking high. I'm not talking like 2-3 feet. I'm talking like 15, 18 feet in the air, spinning and dancing, and there's no one in it. So yeah, it's real stuff. Voodoo has a saying. They say Christians go to church to worship God. In voodoo, we become the gods.
It's like when people say Illuminati. Say their names.
Right.
Say the name. It was one time where Esso was on here and he said, yo, it's these many families. I wanted to jump into the screen and be like, no, Esso, it's a lot of families. I grew up in Delaware. The DuPonts run Wilmington. That's not DuPont Hospital. We know the name. Say the name. Because what it does, when you say these things, it makes a boogeyman for our children.
Right.
They can't fight the Illuminati.
Or the imaginary days.
No, but you allow them.
Yeah, absolutely right in a sense. The DuPonts are a part of a much larger family, but the DuPonts are not what you would call the Illuminati. See, the Illuminati is extremely racist. Extremely racist. I'm not talking about against black people or colored people like Hispanics or anything. I'm talking about everyone who is not what they would consider a pure European or of pure European descent. So they're very against, they control even the Jewish narrative in Hollywood. That whole satanic thing that you guys see all the time with the music industry and the movies. Well, guess who produces those movies? Guess who are the heads of Hollywood? Guess who started Hollywood? It was those people. And guess who funded them? It was the people from Adam Weishaupt's family, those 5 brothers. But like I said, those aren't even the biggest picture. The big picture is, how did they even get started? Well, it started with the other 13 families that I showed you and the Black Pope. You know, all roads lead to Rome. So they're controlling the Bank of England, so they control the currency, which means they control the palace. They control the papal seat, meaning the Pope, the white Pope that you all see at the Vatican. They control it all. And you have these little puppets like Bill Gates. He's a puppet. He's a psychopath and a sadist and a lot of other things that I can't say on YouTube. But he is controlled. He might think he has the power to do a lot of things, but he truly does not. He is just a psychopath with an agenda. And a lot of these people from the World Economic Forum share his same thoughts. So they will entertain him until they're not entertained anymore.
It's really not so much about trying to prove that Bashar is real, because I can't do that.
Right.
What we did demonstrate scientifically, I think probably for the first time that I'm aware of, is that the channeling state is a true altered state. And so the EEG readouts were definitely demonstrating that a lot of unusual things are going on in the brain when people are in a channeling state. And channeling is a natural thing all of us do.
Right.
Whenever anyone is truly following their passion, they're not experiencing the passage of time, you're probably in a channeling state, which is, as we discovered in the EEG test, between 40 and 100 cycles per second in the brain, which is a state called gamma. And in that state, some unusual things are happening. One of the most unusual we found was when people are growing up and their brain starts absorbing information, it goes to a certain frequency point and it generally stops. And that's called the set point in the brain. And what that means is your brain is kind of like taking snapshots of reality at a certain rate. Now, mine in general was 9 hertz, 9 frames per second, which is a typical amount of, rate of absorption. That set point is, according to our science and everything we know about brain science up to this point, is not supposed to change over the course of your lifetime. And certainly, if it ever did change, it would have to take place over a long period of time or be instigated by some sort of brain trauma or some major thing that would happen to the brain to change that set point.
Right.
But what we discovered is that when I go into the channeling state, it changes in seconds and goes from 9 to 10 to 11 to wherever it needs to go to represent whatever it is he's either doing in terms of sending information through or listening to the information someone else is asking him about. And it actually goes higher when he's listening than it does when he's talking.
Oh, interesting.
And so one of the things the technician
Right.
took from that was that there is a higher focus, a higher concentration of attention given to when he is actually listening to someone talk, because he's assessing all of the things that are going on in that statement in terms of their emotional level, in terms of the real intention behind asking the question, and many other aspects. So there was that. One other unusual thing was there is a portion of everyone's brain that is responsible for processing your personality so that you can express yourself as the person you are. During the channeling state, that portion of the brain shuts off completely.
Oh.
So who's talking?
Right. So your personality's gone.
My personality is gone during that state. And there are many other things that are happening, including a very heightened sense of connectivity. See, a lot of people think it's actually a trance state. It's not a trance state.
Right.
It's a state of heightened connection. So that more associations are being made, more connections are being made faster. And so there is a higher rate of processing information, organizing information, and delivering information from a very, very precise, high level frequency.
So just to elaborate on what he's saying, so there's people in the comments, and I've heard people say, well, how do we know he's not schizophrenic? Well, just like you heard, these are working on gamma waves, and one of the big things is the gray matter in the brain that is supposed to be shut off when the personality goes away. His gray matter is way more active, but the personality is flatline, basically. Excuse me, when you're talking about a schizophrenic, not only is the personality there, so that the base personality, the base meaning in a schizophrenic person, their normal personality may go somewhere else. But another person, there's always a personality there. It might not be their base personality. It could be one of however many people they have in them. You know, they are experiencing this dissociation disorder. You know, also called split personality disorder. But for him, his personality takes a back seat. They basically put him into like a dream state or a sleep state. And then they are talking. Now, there's other types of channelers that don't do that. They can actually watch what's going on while this is happening. And so they can sit there and watch it like it's a movie, but they can't interact with it because someone else is in charge. So I just wanted to explain the difference between that.
I did a channeling with my head wired to a brainwave machine, EEG machine. And there were many unusual things that happened in my brain during that channeling state. One of the most profound things is that there are certain centers of the brain that are responsible supposedly for processing the personality. During the channeling state, my personality center is shut off. So if I'm not there, who's speaking?
Performers. So here we have a picture of what disconnects when Daryl begins to channel. And you can see the areas in blue, the functional Brodmann areas we call them, that are not used when he is channeling. And it appears that he disconnects from his personal sense of self. He disconnects from the experience of pain. Now, what increases when he begins to channel is, first of all, his processing speed. And processing speed is a very interesting phenomenon because what happens is it develops early in childhood. And by about the age of 5 or 6, and certainly 9 or 10 maximum, we reach a set point. And this set point doesn't usually change during the lifetime. And in Daryl's case, it actually went up when he began to channel. And it increased when he listened. The actual frequency of the processing speed was tuned to an exact frequency all over the brain. we're looking at Daryl's anterior cingulate while he's channeling. And you can see the red areas there. There is actually gamma frequencies that I found in his anterior cingulate. And gamma frequencies relate to the higher mind. And gamma frequencies are often found in Tibetan monks and people who meditate a lot. To summarize sort of what I found here in Daryl's brain in comparison with the channeling state, he starts from a very stable resting state. And then he experiences changes that statistically less than 1% of the population would experience in the same way. He increases his processing speed. He tunes it exquisitely to one frequency all over the brain. And then he's able to create a resonant holding environment for the peak performance or the channeling to happen. He pumps energy into the right frontal cortex and the right auditory cortex so that he can empathize and hear very, very clearly. And because of the gamma frequencies in the anterior cingulate, he can shift gears. He'll be able to shift gears and navigate cognition, thoughts, and emotions very, very flexibly. And he'll be able to interpret from a higher perspective, from a more evolved place in his mind, much like from the highest mountaintop.
Beautiful, right? Simply
I did the
amazing.
channeling.
You can't beat science. Science is telling you this. So all of these people that want to sit here and say, oh, he's a snake oil salesman, he's full of shit, you know, here's your proof.
Wow, the house is pretty fucked. It looks like the door is going to cave in. Coming in the door. I put everything up. I can't put it up any higher. There's like water everywhere. It's just raising. Oh my god. Yeah, it's just raising, taking everything up. Yeah. It's like the wave is at the door. And it's coming up above my furniture. I don't know what to do. I can't get it up any higher. Wow. I've never experienced this. Wow.
That is fucking insane. It's almost like her house is like right at the front of the ocean, and it's just, you know, tsunamis coming in, you know, hitting her house, or just massive waves. Maybe not tsunami size, but massive waves just hitting her house. That's crazy as hell.
So there's a lot of people out there that think that 2024 is like the end of times, that everything in the Bible and stuff like that is coming true. Check out this video and then let me know what you think.
No one is safe in 2024. They closed off the neighborhood because of low oxygen levels. Something big is changing our planet.
Tens of thousands of dead fish washed up on the Texas Gulf Coast this weekend. Officials say the fish suffocated because of low oxygen levels in the water.
Not only is this in the USA, the same exact thing is happening all over Japan. Many residents were seen collecting the fish to sell, and
They were seen collecting the fish to sell. I mean, I get it. You know, the Japanese, they eat everything. They don't want anything to go to waste. So they see all these dead fish and they're like, oh, we're about to make a ton of money at the market. But, and look, you know me. I'm not pushing any agenda. I don't give a shit about religion. But I'll tell you one thing. When I start seeing things like the Nile River dry up, and then all of these signs that happened that were foretold to happen after the Nile River dried up, you know, I'm being cautious is what I'm saying. You know, I'm still on track. I'm still not drinking their bullshit ass water. You know, I got a reverse osmosis machine. I distill my stuff, plus it adds a proper alkaline pH to it. You know, I don't eat GMOs. I don't feed that bullshit to my family. But look, if this kind of stuff is happening, you gotta have some kind of contingency plan. gotta be able to survive if shit hits the proverbial fan. You know what I mean?
2024 is already kicking off to be so crazy. What is today? January 9th. That's it, 9 days into the year. And already there has been the earthquake in Japan, the Miami incident, the portal with the 10-foot tall creatures. Also the Sky Daddy, Sky Man, have you even seen that one? That's weird.
Who?
The Epstein list. Stephen Hawking's. Cat Williams.
One of us had to cut off all their hair. Couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points.
How about these bodies? These 200 plus bodies that were found buried behind a Mississippi jail.
215 bodies were buried in unmarked graves.
People in Indiana are literally getting boarded inside of their apartments while still being inside.
There's still people in these apartments. There's people living here with their kids.
And we've also just been hit with an extreme weather watch across the entire United States. It's been predicted that it is going to get so cold. We've also been advised to prep our houses in California for the big one, the big earthquake. What is going on with 2024?
Look, I don't have an answer for a lot of that, but I do not understand how the fuck can you be boarding up people's apartments with people living in them, like actively living in there with children and all of this. I don't get it, because, you know, the next thing you know, there's going to be some kind of fire started and nobody knows how it started, and it's just stupid.
Number 15. This video was posted by Poppy. He believes that his house is haunted by the spirit of a little girl who formerly lived in this apartment. The young girl passed away from cancer. This is what he recorded.
I don't know what that was, though. So, whatever it was not even making her up. Come on, man, she's in here sleeping. Come on, man. You need to get out of her room.
I'm gonna go ahead and call straight cappity fucking cap. No way you're gonna be in your daughter's room and you have an experience like that. You know, the closet opens, might not have seen something, and you're still whispering, "Come on, man, she's in here sleeping, you need to get out of her room." No, I'd have been screaming. I'd have woken her up, definitely, because I'd have been screaming and shooting into that closet. "What the fuck? Get the fuck away from my kid, you motherfucker!" That would have been me. That's just me, though. That's why I say cap. The average person does not respond like that. Now, I know there's been a lot of stuff about the Miami. You've seen my previous videos. I've posted and talked about it. But this is something that I've seen consistently, and it's something to look at. It's something to take into consideration, is all I'll say.
Someone DM'd me this interview from somebody who was in Miami for the alien incident, and it's so strange. Let's check it out together, and I want to see what you think.
30 patrullas y un helicóptero andaban siguiendo en la noche de Miami a esta criatura. Este es otro video de la criatura que camina en 4 patas y tiene una cola muy al estilo de los aliens de las películas de Sigourney Weaver. Y pues bueno, Ese es el nuevo chismecito de aliens. Pero bueno, ya saben que lo salen patrañas. Pero pues yo sí creo que existen. A lo mejor los videos que tenemos todos son falsos, pero de que existen, existen.
Now, I've done several reactions of some of the videos from Miami that look like people walking, also very blurred images. And once again, the time that we're living in 2024, like, that our minds are open to believe things like this, it blows my mind. To me, it looks like maybe a film. I hope a film. If not, then that is a demon walking on all fours. Okay, what do you guys think? Do you think this guy was really in Miami? Comment below.
It 1000% is not a film. That is not the first. Look at that thing, man. And from what someone else told me when they initially saw them, is they were bipedal, meaning they were walking on 2 feet. That's why they were 8 to 10 feet tall. But it's even scarier than walking like that. I don't know what that is, but I cannot blame the teenagers. I would have been shooting too. I'd have been shooting so much. Shooting and running. Look, you can't. I don't like mirrors. I do not like mirrors. Mirrors are not something I have a lot of in my house. And it's not because I'm afraid of them, it's because I know other entities get into mirrors. Now, if you think I'm joking, let me tell you how serious I am about my dwelling and my family. Alright? I've got at least a pound of salt under my front doormat. That way, anything coming in, I sage, you know. These are all things that I learned as a kid. But, you know, and as a kid, I used to even salt around my bed, you know. And I remember asking my mother, I was like, so, like, we can keep out demons and ghosts with condiments, you know? What would ketchup do? What would garlic do? And then I learned about vampires. So, but you know what I did when I learned about vampires? I dug deep in. I studied everything in Europe I can find. Then I went to Romania, and then I went to Castle Dracula, Vlad Tepes, you know, the dictator of Romania, the one they called the son of the dragon, the blood drinker. So, yeah, I did all that. But yeah, salt under my doormat. I don't fuck around.
Simpsons event that could happen in 2024.
Under the strict supervision of heavily medicated octogenarians. I'm gonna need to see 3 forms of ID, 12 if you're Democrat.
Get down here. Your vote for president has never been more important.
That's today.
So fake.
You'll get down here this minute if you care about the 3 things you love most.
Let's see. I know who I want for all the judges and propositions, but president, that's a stumper. Can I write in Judge Judy?
You're hesitating over president? Yeah, by all means.
Look, I'm not saying this stuff is going to happen. I'm just saying it's much better to have all of the, and this is just coming from a pure neutral perspective. I would rather have all of the data and sift through it and study it than just have bits and pieces or hear what other people are saying. That's just my perspective. I don't know about you all. This is some of the most hilarious but scariest shit I can think of. When I was a child, I had a buddy that sleepwalk, and I took my pillow. I was like 11 or 12. I took my pillow and I just busted him in the face with it and took off running. And I tell people now, if you sleepwalk, do not come over and stay the night with me. You know, if we're having a get together, go home with somebody. Because if you sleepwalk around me, I'm probably gonna beat your ass if you fuck around and or you're standing over my bed. You know, like I feel that, you know. I feel when people are standing over my bed, and it's happened quite a few times. Like people are wanting to wake me up and you know, they're standing over my bed but trying to slowly like bend over to wake me up, and before they even get to me, you know, I jump up swinging. I'm like, no, don't sleepwalk around me. Like your eyes are open and you know where to go, but then you can't see me right in front of you and you're just doing imaginary shit. You look like a possessed person to me. And waking me up in my sleep seeing that, I'm just swinging. You know, you might get your ass beat is what I'm saying. And you don't want to be at my house, because if you sleepwalk, I'm not the one you want to be around. I'm not the one that's gonna, oh, are you okay? No, that's not me at all. I'm gonna be the one that's, oh, he's on the ground. I'm okay because I'm outside and I'm about to get in the car and fucking go.
Never wake up a sleepwalker.
Bitch is crazy as shit.
Ma? Do you want me to wake him up? No, don't ever. Oh my God.
I want you to notice the difference. See, his eyes are open. They know he's sleepwalking, and they're just cracking up, right? Kiki, ha ha. Watch the next one. I don't know what he's eating in his dreams, but it's got to be the best thing ever for you to not even have to dip your spoon back in. You're just constantly just, you know, clearing off that spoon, and then you got a little, what is this, little teacup, and then he rubs his belly. Like, delicious. Like, what are you eating, dude? I want some.
Lay!
At me like that. Alexis! Mom! Mom! She's just standing here staring at me. Relax. Hey.
Listen at the terror in this girl's voice.
You're staring at me. Relax. Hey. Hey, go lay down.
Sienna.
What I mean when I say I'm scared of dolls.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my. Okay?
tengo esta tacita rosita y esta tacita como fucsia. Huevo, ¿sí?
Hello, my name is Cricket, and I'm going to eat your skin. Don't worry about screaming for your parents, because they're already...
Oh my fucking god, I swear to god, this thing just fucking looked at me. Oh my fucking...
Follow for more.
Look, I don't know why people want to play with dolls. They are so creepy, but not only are they creepy, a lot of these places that make them, like, say, if you live in a Hispanic neighborhood and you go to one of these stores and you're buying like these little statues, Christ, or since they're Catholic, also worship Mary, which is sacrilegious, but that's besides the point. Get these statues of Christ and Mary and all of these things. Don't you know that most of the people that make those are from the religion of Santeria? That's some of the most powerful shit. The cartels go to them to get blessings and protection spells. And so they invoke these demons into these statues. So then when you buy them and you bring them into your home, you've just invited whatever into your house. And I don't know for a fact, but just from looking at all of this, I would suspect that it's the same thing with these dolls. I do not like dolls. I don't fuck with dolls. Not putting a doll of anything in my house. I'm just saying, like, don't chance it. Why risk it?
What? I just want some water, bro.
I got it, but his head was in the way when you made it. They got your boy a waffle maker though. What the f? Bro, there's no holes in there. Open that door and there's nobody there, I promise you. It's just an empty room, I promise. Bro.
Yes, I know that I am high right now, but look at this lady. She is hitting a tennis ball against absolutely no surface, and it's just bouncing back to her. Like, look at it. How is it doing that?
Follow.
Hope you guys have enjoyed that. I'm gonna stop it right there because the chick that's hitting the tennis ball and somebody's hitting back to her. I don't know what the score is, 1-love or what, but that, how do you explain that? How do you, a lot of people, when I say explain, they go to rationalize. No. How do you scientifically explain that? She's hitting that ball against nothing and something is swinging back at her, just playing with her. How do you explain that? I couldn't tell you, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere near her or whatever she's doing. So Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you guys really watched the previous video about the families. I really get in depth about that. And again, thank you from my soul to yours for you understanding everything that I'm trying to do with this community that we all are a part of and on this path together. Thank you for the 1,000 subs and for the comments. I love when you guys comment. I love interacting with you guys. That means more to me than, the likes. So I just want to say thank you from my soul to yours for understanding all of this, doing the research, and like I said, entertainment purposes only. Don't believe anything I say, don't believe anything you see on these videos, but do your research, because there's something that happens when you do your own research. You start to truly understand. Your frequencies change. You can listen to me talk about it all you want, and I can bring you to water, but I can't make you drink. You've got to drink, because that's what's going to raise your vibrations. But we're all in this together. We're all one, and I appreciate every last one of you. I'll see you on the next one.